So I put my stuff on the seat next to me when I was on the tram in Berlin. And the guy actually told me, he's like, you need to move your stuff. He was like, these are seats for people. And I was like, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to.
Well, no. Hello and welcome to this episode of Life Exchange Stories of Understanding. I'm your host, Kelsey Ross, and today we are joined in studio by a very special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Ireland Emerson. I'm a high school student from Michigan. I'm 17.
And I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Yes.
Obviously, you have studied abroad. That's why you're here talking to us. And I hear that you were the recipient of a pretty special scholarship.
Yeah, I got the YFU Germany scholarship to go abroad for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you first hear about the scholarship?
So actually, one of my friends from last year who was a senior participated in it. And the program came back around to our school again, and she was talking about it, told me how great it was, and she told me that I should apply. So I was kind of like hesitant on it because, going abroad is a big deal. So I was like a little hesitant, but then I talked to my teachers, talked to my mom, and we ended up deciding to apply for it.
Awesome. Yeah, and your mom, I'm sure that was probably like for her baby to be going away. She at all a little hesitant to let you go?
Yeah, she.
So how did you have to convince her at all, or what made her finally come around?
I think it was just the idea that like going abroad is such a big deal and it can be a life-changing experience for anybody. And I don't think she wanted to hold me back from that.
Yeah.
I think she wanted me to do as much as I could. So I think that was the main thing.
That's wonderful. It's always great to hear about parents being supportive of their kids and their dreams and all of that. So your friend had gone and studied abroad. Has there been anybody in your family who had ever studied abroad before, or are you the first?
Actually, maybe 2 weeks before I ended up going to Germany, my sister actually went before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have family over in Germany.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she went on a school trip and they were touring around Europe. They went to Italy and France. So they were kind of going around to those places. And then she decided to extend her trip. And she went and lived with my family in Germany.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she was able to go. And then obviously got the opportunity to go too.
That's incredible. Were you able to hang out with your sister and your family at all while you were there?
We tried to arrange something, but I think they were like a 2 or 3 hour distance away from us. So
just too short. Too bad. All right. So I'm sure, with any scholarship process, there's a whole bunch of things you have to do and hoops you got to jump through. So tell me a little bit about what you had to do to get this scholarship.
So we had to start the application with information about ourselves, information about our family, kind of stuff like that. Little insight to who we are. We had to fill out things for clubs and stuff like that, like activities we like to do, interests that we have. And then we had to write essays. So we had 2 essays that we had to write that we talked about different things in. And then we also had a letter that we had to write to our host family that we were going to eventually be with in the hopes that we got accepted into the program. And then after that, it was kind of just a hoping and waiting kind of game.
And you mentioned you had to talk about interests and clubs. So what sort of things did you put into your application?
I put in my sports a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't really been in any clubs besides for going to a meeting here or there. I put a lot of my outside school activities in there. I sew a lot, or I love reading and stuff like that. Just so it was a personal connection kind of thing with the application.
Yeah. I think sometimes we kind of get caught up, especially the students who tend to be pretty high achievers and really ambitious. They're like, I am a member of this prestigious organization and this, and they kind of try to put all of these really, not to diminish it, but really great sounding things about themselves, and they kind of forget the things that are personal to them.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you put these really personal touches in there. How long have you been sewing?
So my grandma has sewn for a really long time. I can't put a number on it.
Yeah.
But as we got older, she, allowed us to help with her sewing and stuff like that. So, like, because of that, I started to learn how. So it's probably been about like 10, 12 years that I've been doing it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing that you've crafted?
I actually just recently I made a bag and it's got like a drawstring on it so I can like use it and it's washable and it's like waterproof too with the material that I use.
So cool. Anybody who can design anything and do any sort of sewing other than like mending little things, I'm insanely jealous of. Anytime I try to do anything like that, I'm just stabbing myself with a needle. It's a brutal process. So I bow down to you. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. And a lot of essays you had mentioned. So definitely have to be ambitious with writing for these application processes. So were there any sort of essays, questions that like stood out to you that you can recall from the application?
One of the essay questions was family member and friends that like stood out to you or had like an impact on your life. I wrote about my grandpa on my mom's side of my family. He's just been a wonderful person. He's always been there to support me. And it was like, as soon as I saw the essay, I knew exactly who I was going to write about. So it was a really good question. And I was able to like really connect on the information.
May I ask what that makes him so special?
Yeah. He's a great guy. He's really funny. He wasn't like, he was married into our family, so he wasn't a part of my life the whole time. But I mean, I got older and our relationship just got so strong and he was always there for us. He would drop whatever he was doing to be there for us. He pretty much became our grandpa.
Yeah.
And we never expected him to. And he stepped up to fill the role and he was like a dad in some kind of ways. And it was like, he taught me so many things and it was just like such a connection that we had. And I knew that I like needed to write about it.
Yeah. I have a very similar connection with my own grandpa. So I wanted to ask, shout out to all of the incredible grandpas out there. By the way, thank you for all that you do and the wonderful connections that you make and the impact that you make on the world. But it's wonderful that you have somebody like that in your life and being able to support you and help you to become the person that you are. That is just special. It's really special.
Yeah.
So then it's a whole lot of waiting. So I've heard with other scholarship processes that there's like interviews and things like that. Did you have to do any sort of interviewing with this? Have to talk to people?
I don't actually remember.
That's okay. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I'm glad. Hopefully there's not. I know for some of them, I know for some of the scholarships, it can be pretty nerve-wracking. A lot of the students I've talked to, that's the one thing that they're the most nervous about. Like, it was so terrifying. I was so nerve-wracking. I didn't want to talk to these people. I hated it. But so when you finally heard that you were accepted, how long did that take for you?
It was definitely a couple months, I think, that I had waited. It was towards the end of school that I had gotten the acceptance letter.
Take me to that moment when you find out you're going to Germany. You got it.
I actually looked at my email. It was on like the middle of the school day. And it was from YFU. And I was like thinking like, oh, they probably need to like have some follow-up questions or something else that they needed to do. And I didn't like really like look at how long it had been since I put the application. I opened it and it said congratulations and I lost it. I literally only read one word and I started freaking out because I knew that like I had gotten accepted into it. And I think I started crying. I was so happy. I was like, it was such a like an amazing experience to like think that like other people were going to be joining me like across the country and I was going to like have time to go and like develop things that most people don't get to.
Yeah.
And it was just, oh my gosh, it was such a surreal moment. Like it's definitely one that I'm never going to forget.
Oh yeah. That's a beautiful memory to have.
Are you ready to see the world and gain a global perspective?
How did you know? With YFU USA, you can study abroad and immerse yourself in a brand new culture, language, and way of life.
It's so much more than just an adventure. It's a chance to grow academically and personally.
Start your journey today by visiting yfuusa.org and find out how you can study abroad with YFU USA.
And so with this program, you were able to stay with a host family.
Mm-hmm.
So about how long after getting accepted did you hear about your host family?
I think it was about a week or two.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty fast process. when I had talked with the person, they gave me contact for my host family.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to like reach out, or like they were going to reach out to us.
Yeah.
So I think my host sister was actually the first person who reached out. She
Aw.
texted me. We were actually at the YFU building when she texted me. We were going through like logistics
Yeah.
in Germany.
Uh-huh.
And she ended up texting me, and I was like so anxious. I wanted to text her back, but I
Aw.
was like, I gotta think
Right.
like what I'm gonna say. And then I had gotten in contact with my host dad, and you know, we just started talking, and
Yeah.
we got really close.
Oh,
It
that's
was really fun.
Awesome. And you had mentioned earlier that you had to write like a letter to your host family. What sort of things? I'm just curious, what did you put into that letter?
I think I talked about how I was super excited to be part of the program, and you know, you don't get to know who is your host family until after. So just talking about like, so thankful that they welcomed their home to me, like a total stranger from a different country. And that there was just so much like excitement that I had. And I was so like happy about the opportunity, and was just waiting. Like I couldn't wait to meet them.
It sounded like, just from hearing you speak, that you and your host family like connected really quickly. Do you think it was just having that time to talk with one another that and be able to bond? Or was it like your personalities that really connected? Like, how were you able to build that bond so quickly?
So both of us, I think, were really excited.
Okay.
And we were so like happy that something like this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And like I said, coming from a different country, like finding different experiences
Yeah.
and stuff like that, I think that played a big part into it. But I also think that our personalities did mix very well.
Yeah.
We never had any issues the entire time that I was there. And it was like almost immediately, like I felt like I was like welcomed, and I was like a part of their home.
Incredible. And had you ever traveled internationally before this experience?
Not internationally. No.
Okay. All right. So then walk me through, you get through all the travel, you get on the plane, you fly over the ocean, and then you're in Germany.
Mhm.
What was that like?
So it was actually really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared of planes. So
Girl, same. Same. I am terrified anytime I hop on a plane.
sitting there for 8 hours was like excruciatingly scary.
Yeah.
I could not wait to get off that plane. And you know, coming from Michigan, we drove to the airport, and then we got on the plane, and then we like, you know, connecting flight. And then I'm like bundled all up in my clothes. The airport's normally cold on the plane. You get off in Germany, and it's like 80 degrees. It was so warm. Literally, the first thing that I did is I went to the bathroom and I took my sweatshirt off. It was so hot. But I first walked out, and it was like really weird because I expected it to be super different, and it really wasn't. And I
Okay.
was actually quite surprised.
Really? What do you mean?
Yeah, the airport, like it looked how any airport in like Michigan would be.
Okay.
Well, just anywhere, I feel like in the US, maybe like a nicer one per se, but it was really cool on the inside. And then when you needed to travel, you would actually travel by like a little tram that was inside the airport.
Okay.
So it was kind of like a little taste of home too, but it was also like really cool seeing it.
Yeah. It sounds like it was pretty simple to get around. Had you had any like German speaking experience before?
No, I didn't.
Did that make you nervous at all?
I was a little nervous because I was worried that I actually found out that like my host sister spoke really good English.
Oh, okay.
I think she did an amazing job. She was a fantastic translator. My host brother spoke pretty good English too. So I feel like everybody had a little bit of like English so they could understand me. And, you know, because of the language like difference.
Teach you any German? Okay. Anything that you remember that off the top of your head?
I have like simple sayings
Yeah.
that they taught. Do you want me to say them?
Only if you want to.
Okay. I think not.
It's all the swears, isn't it? It's always the swears. That's the only thing you ever learn when you're learning a little bit of a language. That is same here. I mean, we're assemblies for. That's what they that's what they're there for. Thank you, assemblies. Your duty is served. So, were you able to meet them right away?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So when we got off the airport, you know, we kind of like gathered ourselves,
Yeah.
you know, got a little like reset after the 8-hour plane ride. And we had gotten to like a little section of the airport, and there was just a ton of people, and we were waiting, and we were all going to walk over there together. And my host family had actually gotten me a present, and they told me that I would be able to see it like in the air. And I was so confused because I was like, what do you mean what air? And they got me a balloon. So I was like, I literally melted. It was so sweet. It was like the first thing that I noticed too. So I was like, oh my God, I'm like halfway across the airport, like trying not to run because I was like so excited.
Yeah.
And I literally couldn't wait to meet them. It was so fun.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And then, you just relax and try to get over that jet lag. And did you feel right at home when you got there? Awesome. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So after you were able to reset, what'd you do? What happened?
So actually the first night we kind of like went and like did some of the things. They would eat dinner and then they would go and like get like little snacks and stuff like that. So it's like midday there and it's like midnight where I'm from. So I was like so tired and I was trying to persevere and it wasn't working. So we got to their house and, I'm unpacking my stuff, kind of like freshening up. And then they're like, you want to watch a movie? And I'm like, yes. And I would love to watch a movie with you guys. And we sit on the couch 5 minutes into the movie and I'm out.
Oh no.
I felt so bad. And they're like, they were like trying to wake me up, but they were trying to be quiet too at the same time. I felt terrible, but like I was just so tired and they were so understanding. So it was really good.
That's great.
Yeah.
And for listeners who may not know, the Germany for You program, a lot of it is service learning based. You're doing a lot of community service in where you're at. Of course, you're learning and living with your host family, and there's historical learning components. I mean, you all are doing a ton in the 2 weeks that you're there. So, I mean, give me a little idea of what sort of things that you were getting up to during those 2 weeks.
So, one of the main things that I remember is we went to it was kind of like a farm.
Okay.
They had a ton of plants and greenery and like they grew things and they had animals there. So we went there and we did like community service from like the seasonal changes. So we went and like we did pull dead plants. We would like pull weeds. We would like clean up after the animals and stuff like that. So we spent like a good chunk of our day going and doing that.
Yeah.
They even I ended up helping with lunch. So I got to cook with some of the people who worked there and we got to cook the food for the rest of the kids that went with us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
We got to use some of the like spices and herbs that they had that they grew.
Oh my gosh.
And it was so cool. Yeah.
Truly farm to table. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. That's incredible. And what were some of the other projects that you were able to participate in?
Another one of them was it was a little more historical. We went around, I think they're called Steiners.
They're those brass blocks. Okay.
We went around and we would find some on the street. We went around the little path and we'd clean them.
Yeah.
Because, they get walked on so much, like the different commutes that people go through to get to work, school, and we would clean them. Some of them would have like a little story about them and we got to like get a little insight on who the person was and why they were memorialized. Yeah. And it was really cool to see.
Yeah. And for listeners who may not know what we're talking about, they are memorial blocks for people who unfortunately were taken in the Holocaust, and they are bricks that are made of brass that are found throughout Germany. They were cleaning these, and their stories and their names and families that are memorialized thanks to these bricks. And it was really cool that you were able to learn a bit more about these people and their stories through this experience. It's awesome. And I'm sure you were able to try a bit of like German foods. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So one of the things that everybody talks about when they are on this podcast, if they go to Germany, is bread. Did you get to try bread? Okay. So what is it about this bread?
I honestly have no idea. But whatever they do to it, it's amazing. We ate bread every single morning and it was like, there were so many different kinds. I think we only had the same kind of bread like 2 or 3 times in the entire 2 weeks that I was studying.
Okay.
Me and my host family, we would go to like a bakery and we would like get like different breads. And then in the mornings, like we'd like cut them up and like have toast and they'd have like spreads all over. And oh my gosh, it was so good. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they put in their bread over there, but it's amazing and I love it so much.
Yeah. Y'all keep just making my mouth water anytime I talk about this dang bread. What does a girl have to do to get her hands on some German bread other than go to Germany?
Oh my goodness. It's amazing.
Awesome. So, what else did you get to try while you were there?
A lot of stuff that I had was like really scary and I was really scared to try it, but I tried everything that I could. And one of the main things that I remember was red cabbage. It was pickled red cabbage. My host family actually took me to their grandparents' house and I got to meet their family.
Yeah.
Such lovely people.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And we would have like weekends with them. And one of the things that I had said was like the red cabbage. And it was like really scared. I was really scared to try it because I don't like cabbage. They had told us in the YFU meeting that like mostly in Germany it's like common courtesy to like clearing your plate, like eat all your food. And my family was making my food for me and they put like a big scoop on it for me to try it. I was like, no,
I know.
so I was like trying to like eat it while I was like doing the rest of my food. And I think my hostess could tell that I didn't like it.
Oh,
She was like, you don't have to eat it. It's okay.
Aw.
I was like, okay, thank you.
At least they were understanding about
Yeah.
it. That's good. Were there any other things that YFU had told you about like German culture or about Germany in general to kind of prepare you for the culture shock of being over there?
They did tell me that a lot of people walk. Some people aren't as friendly on their walk. Some people are. So that was something that was like a little different for me because I mean, everywhere that I go, at least in Michigan, I feel people are very like friendly.
Yeah.
Courtesy is a very big thing, I think, here.
Yeah.
So it was like a little, not like scary, but it was very like surprising.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way though.
Right.
And I understood because, you know, sometimes I don't want to be friendly on the streets either.
Exactly.
So the people that I did have interaction with, they were super nice to me. Another thing was the daytime and nighttime thing. People aren't really active in Germany at night. I don't think that I was like aware of or was able to see in my time. And I feel like people here are like always doing things at night. You know, people work at night and like travel and stuff like that. So I think that was another thing that I was like a little bit surprised about.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet before. Interesting. I had heard like, you know, very studious, very industrious. I definitely have heard the stereotype about walking and not being as friendly when you're passing by, but then not being very active during the nighttime. That's a new one I haven't heard about. So I have to check that out if I ever make my way over there.
Yeah.
And even though you were there for a shorter amount of time, it doesn't mean that you didn't necessarily experience things like culture shock where you were over there. Were there any little moments of culture shock that you had while you were there? Okay.
So we were on the tram and it was a really long day. We had traveled to Berlin and we were walking all around Berlin and we were on our way back. And like the day before, I think I saw somebody like, it was on the tram that we were taking just to get across town.
Yeah.
They put their stuff on the seat next to them.
Okay.
And I didn't really think anything of it, you know, kind of like empty seat. There's nobody else around. So I put my stuff on the seat next to me when I was on the tram in Berlin. And the guy actually told me, he's like, you need to move your stuff. He was like, these are seats for people. And I was like, sorry. I didn't mean to. Yeah. So I think that the other person that was there either was like, that wasn't their stuff and it was somebody else's stuff. Or it was like so that was something that I was like really taken aback to because, you know, I feel like America, we have very big like thing about personal space and bubbles and stuff like that. And in Germany, it's not really like that. I don't feel.
Okay. And you mentioned tram a lot too. Obviously, that's not something you're going to experience a lot here in Michigan. So were you able to navigate that pretty easily? Were you able to figure that out?
Yeah, actually, the first couple of times that I had to ride the tram, my host brother actually went with me just to make sure that I got to my places. The night of, I ended up sharing my location with my host family just so that we could know where each other was. They had me download an app on my phone actually that would like tell me the times that the trains went and like when to be there, when it was going to stop at next and stuff like that. So they have a very good system over there on like communication for when you can and when you can't get around.
Oh, that's great. So, you know, doing a lot of community service projects and you're learning a ton about German culture, but I'm sure you also got to check out some more of the fun stuff over in Germany. So what sort of things did you do for fun while you were over there?
So one of the things that I do remember was when we were in Berlin and we were actually going around and like learning and sightseeing, stuff like that. We stopped at a gift shop while we were there. That was really fun. We got to go around and like look at the different things, and they had a bunch of cute little gifts. Another thing that we did was we got like 2 or 3 hours of free time during our day while we were there, and we could go out in town and go to the shops and stuff like that. This is my Pandora bracelet that I got while I was over there.
That's so cool.
Yeah. With my host mom and my host dad to the mall on a weekend, and we got to like look around. We went into all their stores, and this is what I got while I was there. I actually got these pants from Germany too. So I was loving all of their stores. Their stuff over there is just such good quality too.
Yeah. Nice. So it sounds like great shopping. Gotta remember that. Get the bread, go for shopping. Okay, so talked about the projects you've done, talked about your host family. You really have had a really like close connection. That is what's so surprising to me in that short amount of time, how that like the connection that is so close, so fast. Do you still like remain in contact with them?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh
my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, after I got back from Germany, I was like super inspired, and I was like, I'm going to learn German so I can talk to my host family.
Oh,
So I take German at my school.
really?
Through an online program.
Okay.
And I call my host brother, and I've texted my host sister, called my host sister a couple of times, being like, hey, like, help me pronounce this word, or like, how do you say this? But like, that's just the surface of it. We talk all the time. Like, I had homecoming like last week, I think, and I talked to my host brother about it because he was like, he's never been to an American school. He wanted to know. So it was really cool getting to share that experience with him. I got a stuffed animal from my host family, and I forgot the name of it, and we all like made a poll to like rename my stuffed animal. We're so close, and I love it so much.
That's so incredible. That is, and again, just that tiny little bit of time, just be getting that close connection. That's just beautiful. I'm so happy for you. That's so great. But that 2 weeks, I'm sure just flew by for you. So how, like, was there anything special that you all did to wrap up your experience?
So the last week was, it was kind of getting like ready to leave, but also not wanting to.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was super excited for, not that I was leaving, but at the end of my trip, was my host family's son, my host brother. He was having a birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And we had this big celebration for him. It was like one of those things where it was really cool to be able to experience it with him, but it was also kind of like a going away for me too. So it was really fun to be able to like do that and just spend the time with them. We spent as much time as we could together, just doing whatever we could together last minute so that we could just have as much time.
Awesome. That's so cool. You had a party at the end with our YFU Germany. Did a little celebration for you all to go back. So how was that?
It was really good. We had like a little logistics meeting at the end, traveling back, what to expect. And we had a little activity that we did at the end. We got to, connect with our peers through the 2 weeks, and we just wanted to like send appreciation to everybody that we were with. So we actually had this activity where we had like a little sticky note, and we would write down like how we felt about the person or like what we liked about them. And we would go around and like stick them on each other's backs so that we couldn't see who gave it to us, but we would know that those people were saying those things about us. We did that with our teachers that were around us. One of the girls that had helped us throughout the trip, she made us little like drawstring bags, and they had little candies in them, and they had a YFU logo in it.
Aww.
So it was really nice.
That's so wonderful. Oh my goodness. And then it's time to say goodbye, and then you all leave. So I'm imagining, especially with the bond that you made with your host family, that was pretty emotional. Walk me through how that was for you.
So the morning of, it was like really weird because I woke up and, we had like breakfast like a normal family, but it was like you could feel something. We were all like normal, but like you could just tell like there was a little bit of weight in the air, So we had finished with breakfast. I finished packing up like my last final things, like my charger or stuff like that. And we were loading everything in the car, and then we drove to the airport, and it was like really quiet, but not like quiet like we were talking, quiet, and like there wasn't a lot of like, the normal chatter. And I think it was just because we were all like, trying to like prepare for the goodbye, stuff like that. We got to the airport and I started crying before I even left. So, I was with my host family for a little bit. They were staying with me until I like was gonna like get my luggage through, stuff like that. And like we were all like talking together, and I asked him, I was like, hey, can we take a picture? So we all took a picture, and I was crying. Like, I was like, tears are running down my face. You know, they stayed with me as long as they could, but they had weird stuff to do too. So it was, it was a really hard goodbye, but it was definitely something that's like gonna stay with me forever.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And then you get back home. So did you find it pretty easy to get right back into normal life after being over there?
It was a little hard adjusting, not like anything like too trial-ish, but there were just a couple of things, especially, oh my gosh, driving. Oh my goodness. Because, I don't know if you know, but they don't have a speed limit in Germany.
Oh yeah, especially on the Autobahn.
Mhm.
That's another thing that's on the bucket list if I go to Germany. I don't want to drive it, but I want to be on it. How was that?
Oh my gosh, it was scary. The first time that I was in the car with my host dad, he was driving, and I think this is in like kilometers.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was driving, and it's like 136. I was like, oh my gosh. I looked it up on my phone, and I don't remember what the conversion was, but I was like, oh my goodness. And then my host mom actually was talking to my host dad, and then he was like, are you okay with me going this speed? And I was like, don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but when I got back, it was hard because like my mom's driving. I was like, why are you going so slow? I was like, why aren't we home yet? And I was like, oh.
Does your mom know about you and your host dad going so fast?
Yeah, she did. I texted
Did
her
she have a heart
afterwards.
attack at that?
She was like, just be safe, girl. I was like, I'll try.
Imagine your mom's sweating bullets at home. You're like, I need to get the next flight to Germany right now. Did you, with the other Germany for You participants, were you able to form any bonds and connections with them? I believe some of them also go to school with you too, right?
Yeah. Two of the girls that I'm with, like, during the school day had joined us on the trip.
Yeah.
And me and them are really close. I talk to them, see them every day.
Yeah.
Another one of the guys that went with us, we kind of talked a little bit on the trip, but like we weren't ever like, like close friends before then. So it was really cool to like get those experiences. But the group that came with us from St. Louis, actually, they were amazing people. I got super close with a handful of them. One of the people actually from St. Louis, I sat by on the plane and we talked like almost the whole time. And it was really fun getting to meet people because I'm a very people person. I talk to a lot of people. So it was really cool having to like be with them and experience being in a different country with them.
Yeah.
So, I don't text them every day, but, we still communicate. We see each other on social media, stuff like that. So,
you got through this life-changing experience together, and only you all know what that was like. That's cool. So then you're trying to get back into normal life and all back to normal. So after that, you're here, and the future is bright and big and ahead of you. So what's next?
For me, I'm taking German right now.
Awesome.
I'm trying to learn as much German as I can.
Yeah.
I'm applying for the CBYX program.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's incredible.
I'm really hoping that I can, get my application out there and get in.
Yes.
I'm gonna try to learn as much German in my class as I can. But I'm also gonna do stuff outside of it. I want to go abroad for the year with the CBYX program. I'm right now not set on what I want to do for my career. I think being in Germany for a year might help me change it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So mostly I'm just really looking forward to and trying to put my energy into that right now. And, once that application's in, then I can start doing other things. But I'm just really like open right now just because there's so much that could happen, especially like I just went on a 2-week exchange program. So I'm really just, kind of doing whatever.
Yeah. It's a big wide world out there. And there's so much time and so much to figure out. Possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Do you think if you hadn't have gone on that 2-week exchange with Germany for You that you'd have ever considered doing a year-long exchange like the CBYX program?
I think I would have thought about it. I've always wanted to go to Germany since I was like a little girl.
Yeah.
Because our family's from Germany. So it was something that I had always wanted to do, like even just to visit kind of thing. I think if I didn't go on the 2-week trip, I probably wouldn't for the year long because, that's a that's a big time jump
Yeah.
from never going to an entire year.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would have,
Mhm.
but with the experience that I had, 100%, I would do it over again.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, would you do it again?
Oh, yes.
So, and I know actually the application period for the Germany for You scholarship just opened up again for people in the Saginaw area, people who are living here, people who may be considering trying it out. Do you have any words of advice for people who may be thinking about applying for this opportunity?
Pretty much just be as much you as you can be.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a little silly, but kind of like how you said earlier, they don't want just a boring application because they see so many and, like really put your story out there and just make it as personal as possible. Try to connect with it because it'll make the experience so much better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And any word of advice for somebody who maybe does end up getting this Germany for You scholarship?
Just be open to everything, lessons, food, culture, like a great experience. And it can change your life in so many ways. I know it did for me. So I wouldn't want somebody to go in with a closed mind and not be able to, experience as much as I was.
Perfect. I think that'll be really beneficial to somebody who inevitably ends up getting it and hopefully listens to this. But as a little bit of a wrap up to put a pretty little bow on this wonderful talk with you. You shared so many great stories, especially with your host family and the things that you did while you were overseas. But is there any particular memory or story from your time abroad that really stands out that you weren't able to share yet that you'd like to talk about?
So I actually have two.
Oh, please share, please.
My first one is going to see my host family, like their grandma and grandpa. They call them Oma and Opa. My grandma, we actually used to call her Oma too because she was from Germany. So it was really fun being able to, be back in that kind of like thing. And there was a time that we were there, me and my host brother, we were going to go for a ride on the bikes. But it was like, can possibly rain. And I didn't bring it back with me because I had left it at home. And my host grandma had lent me her jacket. And it's, it's leather, it's silk on the inside. It's a really nice jacket. And it was so pretty. I told her that it was super pretty. And I was like really thankful she let me use it. Cause for me, I feel like it was like something to have been like very protective over.
Yeah.
And we ended up going on the bike ride. I used it while we were gone. And I used it whenever I was outside and it was raining. We took pictures together and I was wearing the jacket. And then as we were getting ready to leave, she gave it to me and she told me that I could keep it. And I was, oh my gosh, I started crying. I was so touched. She was such a sweet lady. She bought, I don't know. I'm not sure if she bought it or not, but it was a little coin and it was like a $20 coin that they had there. And it had a little soccer player on it because they knew that I played soccer. And she bought me a bag of lemon meringue because I was like obsessed with it when I went there and it was so good. And then she gave me like a little bit of money too. And she called it my travel fund. And it was just so sweet, like a family that I've never known and somebody who I knew for 2 days and was just showering me with love and affection. It was just so wonderful. They were such amazing people.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you said you also had another story.
Oh, yeah. So it was about the last couple of days that we were there. In the afternoon time, we didn't really do a whole lot because, we were like with each other, spending time with each other. And my host family has turtles. They have 2 turtles. They might be tortoises. I'm not entirely sure. They're pretty big though.
Oh.
But they have a balcony and they would put them out on the balcony. And, let them like be outside. They grew plants. They would let them eat a little bit of it. And when I was on the balcony, the turtles were under me, under the chairs, and I was watching the sky and there was a hot air balloon in the sky. And my host dad comes out to me and he was telling me that like there might be like something in the sky. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like the colors in the sky or something. And it was like going to be predicted or whatever. So me and him were actually out on the balcony and we were just talking, and I was just soaking up as much as I could so that I could like remember it. And it's such a vivid picture in my mind of like a hot air balloon in the sky in Germany with turtles under my seat. Like it was amazing.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Little baby turtles. Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, Ireland, I can't thank you enough for sharing your stories with me today and telling us all about the Germany for You program and just telling us all about this incredible experience that you had and your host family and the tortoises or turtles. People in the comments, please tell me the difference. I wish I could tell the difference, but I can't. I would like to know, but thank you so much for
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, until next time, this has been this episode of Life Exchange Stories of Understanding. I've been your host, Kelsey Ross. Bye!
Listen to Life Exchange Stories of Understanding now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.